Hi, welcome to Comet Computer Private Limited e-learning program of Azure Public Cloud Training. Myself, Ilan Cherian, Technical Director at Comet Computer Private Limited. In this video, we'll see how to create a network security group, and also we'll see how to configure the inbound rules, and we'll straight away get into the demonstration. So in the previous lab, we have created a virtual network. So now we'll see how to create a network security group. So under all services, go to the networking category. So under networking category, you can find network security groups. Just press on that. So it will take you to the network security groups. So where you can press this create network security group button, or you can just press add. So both it will take you to the same configuration portion. It will take a few moments to start. Again, as always, first you need to choose the subscription in which you want to create the resource, and then you need to choose the resource group in which you want to add your resources. So I want to add my resources in the lab resource group 01. And for this network security group, whatever the name you want, you can define. I just want to give the VNet name with the network security group name NSG01. So the naming convention, always be cautious, and because this naming convention, just like that, don't use any names. So you have a format for the names. So maybe project specific or application specific or department specific. You maintain your own format so that it will be easy for you to manage these resources easily later. Okay, so after giving the name for the network security group, so choose the region where you want to create the network security group. Earlier, I have created my VNet in East US. Now, I'm also adding the network security group in the same region. Then press review plus create. So once the validation process is done, we can create the resource. Press create. So now the network security group will get created. It will take few moments. So we need to wait until the resource is getting created. Yeah, so deployment is done. You can just press on this go to resource. So it will take you to the network security group. So you can see here we are into the lab 01 VNet 01 network security group. And in the overview, you can see there is no custom security rules created inbound or outbound. And to create inbound or outbound rules under settings, you can find the outbound security rules. So by default, there are three default rules are available. The first rule, that is the 65,000 priority rule. It says that any port, any protocol, source from any virtual network, destination to any virtual network allow. It means that all the traffic within the VNets are allowed by default. Similarly, the next rule, 65,001 priority, it is for allow internet outbound. The rule says the port, any protocol, and from any source to internet, it is allowing. And also we'll have the another rule, the last rule by default 65,500, deny all outbound traffic. So if the condition doesn't matches these two rules, the final rule will be the deny rule. So finally the traffic will get blocked. Any additional additional traffic you want to specify, you can specify on top of this, so that if you define the priority less than 65,001, so your rule will come above the this particular rule. And now coming to the inbound rules, even in this inbound rule you can see the 65,000 priority rule, which allowing VNet inbound. The rule says any port, any protocol, from any virtual network, and to any virtual network, all traffic is allowed. It means that so within the VNet, all the inbound traffics are allowed by default. And the next rule is 65,001. The name is allow Azure load balancer inbound. So you can see that it allows all port, all protocol, and source load balancer. So only any traffic that is originating from the load balancer to any destination, that is allowed by default. And the rest of the traffic are denied. It means that any traffic which comes from the external internet, or any traffic which comes from some any other third party VNet, so those traffics are denied by default. See now, for example, after all these things is done, we'll be creating a virtual machine. Say if I'm creating a virtual machine, after creating the virtual machine, we need to configure the virtual machine. If I want to configure a virtual machine, at least I should be able to connect the targeted virtual machine through remote desktop. So if I want to connect the virtual machine through remote desktop from my office, it means that I'm in the public internet. So from the public internet, I want to connect the virtual machine which is inside the VNet. So in VNet, in the network security group, the inbound traffic has to be allowed. That is any traffic coming for RDP. So those traffic has to be allowed inside the VNet. So for that, we can create a rule. So here I'm adding one more rule. Source any means from anywhere the traffic may originate. It may be from the origin traffic may originate from the public internet or a intranet or any other VNet. Anywhere from the traffic may originate, and source port, the traffic may come through any port. And the destination, you can be specific with the destination. You can specify a particular IP address. It means that whatever the IP address you choose here, that is any one IP or a series of IPs, so only to that particular IP range the traffic will be allowed. Or you can choose other option to the entire VNet. So it means that any protocol you are allowing inbound, so that will be allowed to all the resources inside the VNet. And also you can choose any. It means that any resource which is attached with this network security group, because right now we have just created the security group, we haven't attached this network security group to any resource. For example, I'm creating a virtual machine. For that virtual machine, I can attach this network security group. It means that any resource that is attached with this network security group, so this rule will get applied. So in destination also we can choose any based on your requirement. And similarly in source also you can define a specific IP address or specific service tag or specific application security group also. So for now, in source I'm mentioning any, and source port I'm mentioning star. It means that it can allow all the traffic. That is, this rule will apply for all the traffic. And destination, I'm meaning that, so any resource which is connected with this network security group, so this rule will get applied. And the destination port range. So I know that I'm going to connect the virtual machine later using RDP, so that I'm going to allow 3389 port, so that from any source to any destination, that is from any source to any resource which is attached with this VNet, that is the network security group, so this port is going to be allowed. And also you can define what protocol you want to allow, only TCP, only UDP, or only ICMP, or any. I'm choosing any. And the action, whether either you want to allow the traffic or deny the traffic. For now I'm just creating this rule to allow the traffic. And also we can define the priority. So the minimum priority you can define is 100, and more than that you can choose 100, 101, 102. So whatever the priority you can define. And also you can give any name for the uh, this particular rule. I'm just going to give a rule name like this, um, RDP. And description, this is to allow remote desktop connection. So you can give the description for the particular rule. and then press add. So wait until the progress is completed. Fine. So now the rule has been added, and here you can also see one warning symbol is there. So this warning is because you're allowing all traffic for RDP, since it is not a recommended option. So instead of that, it is always recommended to use a Bastion host or Azure Bastion service. So that, but right now for testing purpose, we are just exposing the RDP to the public internet. So for now, it is not an issue for us. So that's what our intention is, to create the network security group. So that is done. And in the upcoming videos, we'll discuss the further topics. And that's all for the demonstration in this video. And in the next video, we'll be discussing about application delivery services. Until then, bye bye.